New York, in the early morning, has a hush to it that seems almost sacred, the city stretching awake like a great living organism. The streets are slick with the recent rain, neon reflections rippling across puddles, taxi lights shimmering like fleeting constellations. Somewhere, a faint saxophone drifts from a corner club, hesitant and intimate. It's the kind of city that cradles myths and memories alike. And in this city, Sarah Jessica Parker once walked as a different version of herself, a character whose shoes seemed impossibly high and whose life was framed by sparkling screens and glittering fantasies. Carrie Bradshaw existed in those streets, on those sidewalks, in the cafes that smelled of coffee and ambition, in the nights that smelled faintly of perfume and late autumn rain. She was a whirlwind, an embodiment of desire and curiosity, a voice narrating the pursuit of identity, love, and style, weaving together the threads of fashion and romance into a tapestry that millions felt they could reach out and touch. Carrie's world was bright, and at times dizzying, with heels clicking against polished floors, with conversations that danced like champagne bubbles in Manhattan's neon glow. And yet, time has a way of softening myths, stretching them into reflection. The woman who once gave life to Carrie now navigates a different rhythm. Sarah Jessica Parker, stepping out of the silhouette of the icon she created, carries a weight that is lighter in some ways, infinitely more complex in others. There is a depth in her gaze, a quiet command of the world around her that is neither performative nor fleeting. She walks through the city with a sense of both belonging and observation, a witness to her own life and the lives of others. Her family, her children, the quiet intellectual pursuits she now cherishes, these are the textures of her current existence. She reads books that challenge her, that stretch across history, politics, literature. She follows her daughter's syllabi, letting the thoughts of distant authors mingle with her own reflections. There is a richness here, a grounding in knowledge and contemplation that contrasts sharply with the bright, intoxicating chaos of Carrie's New York. Her work-life balance is a labyrinth of choice and responsibility, a path threaded through privilege, desire, and conscientious restraint. She does not speak of it lightly, for she knows that the real world of working mothers, those holding down multiple jobs, those navigating systems without support or safety nets, is far removed from her experience. Yet, in the quiet moments at home, at dinner with her family, Parker tastes a version of reality that Carrie could never touch, a reality infused with tactile warmth and relational depth. There is joy in this, a sweetness in the ordinary, in the whispered laughter of her children, in the simple beauty of a shared meal, in the awareness of being present even when the demands of a career intrude. She understands the paradox of her existence, the privilege and the guilt, the exhilaration and the longing, all coexisting in the same breath. Fashion remains her conduit between myth and reality, a reminder that identity can be simultaneously playful and profound. Her appearance at the New York City Ballet's Fall Fashion Gala is emblematic of this duality. Draped in Iris Van Herpen, wings unfolding like a living extension of her own body, she becomes both angel and observer, sculpture and human. The gown is a technical marvel, a fusion of art and technology. But it is also a narrative device, a way of articulating selfhood without words. The city around her is a backdrop, echoing the intricate lattice of the dress, the play of light and shadow, the perpetual dialogue between space and figure. She moves through this moment with grace and command, not for spectacle alone, but as a demonstration of how experience, knowledge, and expression can coexist. And yet, even amidst these curated moments of artistry, there is Parker's enduring fascination with life's unpolished edges. Her wardrobe choices, from the timeless practicality of wax jackets and hunter wellies to the daring, ethereal constructions of couture, speak of someone attuned to nuance, someone who understands that beauty is often found in imperfection, in the subtle off-center tilt of a necklace, the slight wrinkle of a sleeve, the interplay between material and movement. Carrie Bradshaw was a myth forged in sharp angles and dazzling light. Parker now operates in the interstices, savoring both shadow and brilliance, knowing that life's elegance is often quieter, more deliberate, more considered.
Her intellectual curiosity is no less vivid than her sartorial flair. She immerses herself in nonfiction, exploring Russian politics, classical English literature, and contemporary narratives that challenge her assumptions and expand her understanding of the world. In these texts, she is a seeker, not a character, her curiosity unmediated by cameras, scripts, or the external expectations that once shaped her career. The books become her companions, her interlocutors, her lens into the lives of others and the mechanics of human behavior. There is a thrill in reading that is quieter than the applause of red carpets, but infinitely more enduring, a testament to the evolution of self beyond the glare of fame. Even in the theater of life, she observes the interplay between past and present, between myth and reality. The characters she portrays, the stories she chooses to inhabit, are now colored by reflection and perspective. Ending And Just Like That was a conscious act of closure, a way of acknowledging the myth of Carrie while embracing the woman who had brought her to life. It was not a retreat, but a meditation on the limits of narrative, the ethics of storytelling, and the satisfaction of knowing when to let a story breathe on its own. Parker walks away from the screen with the same thoughtful deliberation that informs her every other decision, aware of the resonance of absence, the poetry in leaving spaces unfilled, the dignity in pausing before the next act of life begins. The New York City Ballet is a stage where she merges her aesthetic sensibilities with her desire to foster creativity, a bridge between performer and patron, observer and participant. She has watched dancers evolve across seasons, felt the tension of rehearsals, the swell of music against flesh and bone, the spellbinding thrill of watching technique transform into emotion. Ballet, like life, is ephemeral. The performance exists in the instant it is performed, yet leaves traces that linger in memory. Parker embodies this duality, a figure at once anchored and transitory, myth and intellect entwined. Even as she inhabits the world with measured grace, there is an undercurrent of joy, curiosity, and playful rebellion. She appreciates the nuances of personality in her children, the way twin daughters diverge and converge in thoughts, tastes, and temperament. She recognizes the absurdity and beauty of life's contradictions, savoring small conversations and fleeting moments of connection. There is humor in this, a quiet wit, a recognition that identity is layered and multifaceted, never reducible to a single narrative or stereotype. Through all of this, Parker maintains an awareness of history, of her own place within a cultural lineage of women who navigate visibility and expectation. She juxtaposes the myth of Carrie with the real demands and rewards of her present life, understanding that fame is a prism through which both light and shadow are refracted. Her past self, dazzling and effervescent, is not abandoned but integrated, a point of reference in contrast, a foil against which the richness of lived experience can be measured. The city continues to pulse around her, indifferent and alive, the skyline a testament to ambition and endurance. Rain-slicked streets gleam under lamplight, the distant roar of traffic hums like a heartbeat, and in the cafes and bookstores, in the theater wings and gallery halls, the rhythms of life unfold in quiet and spectacular ways alike. Parker moves through this space as a witness, a participant, a curator of her own narrative. She is both myth and intellect, fashion and reflection, a figure who has learned the art of inhabiting the present without discarding the past, of embracing depth without forsaking glamour, of reconciling the ephemeral with the eternal. In the end, Sarah Jessica Parker's journey is a meditation on evolution, the shifting interplay of identity, creativity, and wisdom, the reconciliation of public myth with private substance, the navigation of time with grace, humor, and intelligence. Carrie Bradshaw lives on as legend, but Parker herself has grown into a role far more nuanced, informed, and deeply human. She is at once a voice of culture, a mother, a thinker, a patron of the arts, and a woman who understands that life's true richness is measured not in applause, but in attention, thought, and presence. The city exhales, night folds into day, and Parker walks forward, a figure both familiar and new. Wings metaphorical and real, threading through streets and stories, a reminder that growth is not the abandonment of myth, but its careful, reflective continuation. Through books, fashion, art, family, and thought, she inhabits a world of her own making, and in doing so, offers a lesson to anyone who watches, that life, like art, is always in dialogue with itself, always asking us to reconsider what it means to live fully, authentically, and beautifully.